All right, I'm live. And hopefully Cross Comics is going to join us. Let me see if I can message them and let them know I'm on. Okay. All right. I'll just tell them, all right. I'm live right now. You don't know who Cross Comics is? Cross Comics is a gentleman. It's a comic book company. What I know about it, to the best of my knowledge, that's being started up by a young man in I think his name is Rich or Rick. I can't remember. It's either or. Up in Canada, and you can see his channel. I can go to it right now, actually. My house might be a little mess right now. So I should put the link down below. I think this is it. To his page. I'm just getting started here, and I also have to. Yeah, this is the right link. So I'm going to put the link down below for people that want to go visit Cross Comics. I found him, and I saw that he was doing Christian material. So here's his link in the description. Below, and we'll just wait for him to join. I'm just waiting for him to join, basically, and see if he comes in the chat. Oh, let me go look. I have to open up the chat. Hang on. All right, so events. Sound test. All right. Hey, what's up, Nighthawk Warrior? I do remember you. I've bumped into you in the forums, in the comic book forums. I'm waiting on Cross Comics. He's a really cool guy. He's got I think Insecto is one of his characters that can turn into like insect creatures or something like that. You're gonna have to let him explain all of it. And he has a girlfriend who also has powers, and I guess they're born again Christians, and he can invoke his powers through basically just asking God to do so. And it's a pretty interesting concept. I'm also a Christian, in case people don't know, and I want to because I'm a Christian. I don't see how Christianity should be excluded, or I don't see why it should be like exclusively excluded. Like basically, I'm not saying like every Christian comic book should be a Christian comic book or anything. I mean, that'll never happen in the real world, but I'm just saying it doesn't seem to me like Christianity should be excluded. And I know there's been some Christian type characters, but I haven't seen like just a really down to earth like Christian superhero type comic in the mainstream. I'm sure somebody will tell me, well, hey, there's this or that company that maybe I haven't bumped into online, and I don't proclaim to know everything about comics either. what I do know is I grew up on certain comics, and I basically, uh, you know, I had certain comics that I, could afford because I was just a kid. I didn't have a job or whatever, and every now and then someone would buy me a comic, or I'd take some of my hard-earned, uh, you know, um, allowance, and I'd go buy some comics or whatever. But yeah, I basically um, grew up and I what I also learned is I had quite a natural talent for drawing. I wasn't the best artist. There were other art kids. There was a couple other kids that were better than me, but I've always been in the top ranking, like, of artistic ability as far as like drawing anatomy, human form, and stuff like that. I'm just now kind of learning to really get my shading down in my inking and stuff. But you can go look at my art. My anatomy is pretty cool. I do a more cartoon style anatomy, but it's a style that I developed. It's not a style I have where I'm hiding that I can't draw. I can draw realism. I wish I could find it, but I did a portrait of Jimi Hendrix when I was in college, and my parents hung it on the wall. Is Cross in here yet? I gotta go look in the comics or in the comments. Yes, he's here. So this is what I'm gonna do. I should be able to paste the link, and you should be able to click on it, and it should bring you here. Because there's a lot to talk about, believe you me. So Cross, that link should bring you and anybody else who wants to hang out in here. And I'll probably delete it so that we don't get our live stream hijacked. But I don't think we run any risk of that right now. There's like 3 people watching. One of them's me. One of them's Cross Comics. So I don't think anyone's going to hijack it. Hey, he's in. All right.
1 3.
It worked. You're here. Your name was Richard or Rick? I can't remember.
I go by Rick.
Okay.
Okay, I gotta turn my.
Yeah, volume's. Mine's way up too. All right. That might be better. All right, is that cool?
Okay, hold on. I gotta figure this out.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm being patient. When you're live streaming, just so you know, for your information, up at the top there's those like 6 icons going across. When you're live streaming, just so you know, for your information, up at the top there's those 6 icons going across. Do you see them?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's a little person with a plus sign. Oh, you may want to shut the volume off on YouTube if you're watching YouTube. Okay. You may want to shut the volume off on YouTube if you're watching. Okay. Don't worry, we're getting this worked out, people.
Okay, I got the volume off on my computer or on my laptop, and I've got this up on my computer, and I've got this up on my tablet, and I can hear what I'm saying like about 30 seconds later.
Yeah, we're getting some kind of an echo. Can you hear me now or no?
I can hear what I'm saying like about 30 seconds later.
Yeah, we're getting some kind of an echo.
Okay, that might be my tablet. Let's see whether I can. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my tablet.
Okay.
Now I got to turn the volume up on my computer a little. This is my first time doing it like this, so I
If you
can't hear you right
if
now.
you have the YouTube page open, you should
Come on,
volume
volume.
on the YouTube page. Like if you want to watch the chat on the, if you open up the actual video that we're doing right now on YouTube, you just got to
Okay.
shut the volume off. You can watch it. Like if you want to watch the chat. All right, there we go. We're good. I think we did it. What's going on? 3 viewers. We got one a viewer right now. I think it's hang on, let me now I got to open up YouTube. So how are you doing? How you doing, Rick?
Yes, you're hearing yourself there. I'm doing good.
Right on. I was trying to talk about your you call it the Cross Universe. Hello?
Yeah.
Do you want to explain it better than I can? The universe that you're working on.
Oh, okay. I have several.
Yeah.
Okay. The delayed things throw me off. Sorry.
So there's a delay between you and me, basically, too.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
think so. Or maybe it's the background I'm hearing on your stream. I think
Huh.
I could hear your computer.
Interesting. I don't have anything else open. Just all I have
I
is
don't know. I'm guessing.
Google
Unless
Hangouts.
it's my computer doing it. Oh, oh, man. Oh, I know what it is. Got this open. There. I had this open, the chat thing in YouTube, not just on.
Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, you
I
got
should
it.
be all right now. So I was hearing it as it feed back to me. Okay, so I'm gonna put my volume up again, all the way.
All right. So now are we?
Okay, I think we should be all right now.
Okay, cool. No, I was trying to explain. I also have an interest in comic books and doing Christian storylines, and because as I recall, to be believers of the word, you're also supposed to be a doer of the word, and you're supposed to know people by their fruits. And fruits doesn't necessarily translate out to money. It should translate out to like works that you've done to kind of further the kingdom of God. And I don't see a lot of so-called Christian content creators in the mainstream trying real hard to put out any independent Christian comic books. Do you?
No, there are I've been doing this a while. I've been on not YouTube, Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm in a bunch of different groups with comic creators. Now, they have ones coming out periodically. Maybe once a year if you're lucky. Like there's Faith Walker, and I know there's a few others, but they don't come out on a regular basis. So they're no competition to say DC or Marvel or any of the bigger companies out there. I think we need ongoing characters like DC or Marvel would produce.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And that's where I'm trying. That's where since I started my comic book universe, I've thought of it being, and I can't say the exact. Lately I've just been saying I've started this when I was 15, approximately, give or take a year either way, and I'm like 45 now. So
Right. No, I'm approaching. So you are a little younger than me. I wasn't sure. You're not much younger than me. I'm 48, and I didn't necessarily always have the compassion to do anything like Christian content.
Yeah.
I just generally wanted to be in comic books, but I always did have a passion for wanting to I guess express heroic type characters that defeat evil at the very least. So I could because that it just that's what appealed to me when I was younger in comic books, because I read a lot of Captain America and Spider-Man, and they were kind of jam-packed with ethics.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I was into superheroes since I was a kid. I watched Super Friends growing up and Spider-Man and whatever else. I still watch the ones that I can. And I started, my mom got to get me reading. She got me some Christian Archie comics.
Yeah.
And that got me into reading, the mainstream stuff, and after that, after I got into the mainstream stuff, I started noticing, okay, Christians, there's lots of Bibles. We got Christian comics out there, but most of it's Bible stories rehashed or some maybe true life events.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yes. Right.
And there's the odd angel demon stuff, but that's not going to appeal to the masses that are in this section of this community of comics.
No,
And
I
at that point,
don't believe it is.
so at that point, I thought
It's not as much. I think you could go further with it, is what I'm saying, and make it more relatable to people.
yeah, I'm sort of talking about that. What I mean is,
More relevant.
there's no Christian superhero stuff out there, and or there's no how do I word this? With no Christian superhero stuff out there, just Bible stories rehashed and all that. The people that are into superhero comic books, they're not going to come and read a Bible story rehashed.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, if they want, that's what I'm saying. They want to see superhero stuff, and also I'm not saying that the Bible isn't relevant. The Bible's very relevant, but I mean more relevant, like almost like a more modern, contemporary Christian type character. That a younger Christian nowadays could like really relate to. That was like a model of like how to pray. You know what I mean? That he can't do everything without God, maybe even, you know what I mean? Some type of character like that, which is what now I'm going into territory that I'm doing with my character. But yeah.
I've got several characters that I've got 7 main characters that I want to bring out that I've got planned for their own comic books and all that. They're going to form a team eventually. The first guy I got is called the Canadian Shield. I'm a Canadian. I'm not sure who knows that out there.
I think I heard that in the introduction too. Anyway, yes.
So, most of my guys, my superheroes are Canadians. We're all a bit patriotic in that way. So
yeah, I haven't done,
which is no problem.
I haven't done any Canadian superheroes. My guys are all American so far, I think. I don't have any foreigners. Yeah.
Yeah,
you told me you have a ton of characters. I have a very small universe right now.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah.
Well, my first guy, like I said, is Canadian Shield. He's a Native American. He initially started life like the early 1800s. He got saved. He was ostracized by the Native Americans of the day because, he's not worshiping the white man's God, in their opinion back then. And then he's ostracized by white man because he's a Native American back then.
Right.
So his is almost a solitary journey, and he's trying to figure out what he can do for God, And he's in a church praying, God, help me be a warrior that you want me to be for you. And God just zaps him out of that time into our time. up
and
in the middle of nowhere because you don't want to take somebody from 200 years ago and put them in the middle of a city nowadays.
right.
It'd just be ultra culture shock. And then God takes a suit from the future that gives him super abilities and transports it back through time to our time, the present, to where he is. An angel appears, tells him to put it on, and travel southward. And
Nice.
he ends up in Hamilton. So
So
he's going.
it's a futuristic, like heavenly, like a divine super suit, basically.
Yeah. Well, the suit is made by man.
It's a man-made suit from the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it gives him like Superman almost abilities. He's not quite on the power level of Superman, but it gives him super strength, super speed. He can fly. Incredible durability.
I sketched Insecto while you were talking about him the other day at work. I didn't bring it with me though. I'll have to save it for another live cast for live stream for you. But I sketched him standing there with a little butterfly on his finger.
I
like it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it came out actually pretty good. I didn't spend a lot of time on it, but it came out pretty good.
And Insecto, he's my fourth character that I want to bring out. And he's just newly married. He's traveling to a different city to do some. He's going to become a cook, but he's always been into comic books. His secret prayer has always been, "Lord, make me a superhero." So,
of course, that's everybody's secret prayer now.
But him and his wife are coming into the city that he's going to be studying his cook stuff at. And there's like a fire truck goes whipping by, and his natural curiosity that we all have gets the best out of him. And he follows the fire truck to where it is. And, him and his wife get out of the car, his new wife get out of the car, and they look up and they see this woman. There's no way that firemen are going to be able to save her for whatever reason. And they just start praying, and in the midst of their prayer, Lord, provide a way for her to be saved. And it's in the midst of that prayer that he turns into Insecto for the first time.
Saves her life and saves both their lives, basically.
Yeah, well, saves the woman up in the building wherever,
Oh, he's not up there with her. Oh, okay. He's traveling alone. You're saying, okay.
Well, he was with his wife. They're just, they're on the outskirts of where the fire people will let them,
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they were in their car. They came into town. They followed the fire truck. They got out of the car. They saw the woman. They prayed. He turns into Insecto for the first time.
Cool. Through somebody else's prayers are answered.
Yeah, and at that point, well, it's him and his wife are praying, Lord, provide a way for her to be saved. This woman that's up in the fire. And
he's praying too. They're praying too. Cool.
Yeah, probably the woman in the fire thinking, Lord, help me. God, help me. I'm not sure whether she's supposed to be a Christian or not. I don't go into much about her. And he gets interviewed at first, by the media that's around the fire. And he's got this, you probably saw this, I'm not sure whether you saw the symbol on his chest. You wouldn't have seen the symbol on his chest. But it looks buggish, but it also looks like an eye. And he's seeing it reflected in something. So he sees the eye part, and he's like, Insecto. He was going to say Insect Man or something like that. It's just, he ends up calling himself Insecto.
And then you were drawing, what was it, Mrs. Heat?
Oh, I wasn't drawing her that day.
You were showing me a picture of Mrs. Heat while you were drawing, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got talking about my early days of cross comics. It wasn't cross comics back then, I went through a few different names for what I was going to call my company. I think one time I called it JC Comics.
JC, right? I've had a couple names too. I went through Fabled Comics, and then I don't know, it was something I kind of came up with because I didn't have any name, and Fabled Comics seemed pretty cool. Then you saw I tried Impact, but you told me I found out pretty quickly through you that DC already had like a subline with like Archie and stuff, which is, you were saying your mother actually bought you those.
Well, I bought the
I'm glad
superhero
that
one. My mom bought me. There was a company called Spear Comics. It was a Christian company, and they produced Christian Archies.
Oh, okay.
But Impact took Archie superheroes because Archie had superheroes way back when.
Yeah.
And they took the Archie superheroes. They got permission by Archie to publish them.
Publish Archie stuff
in the 90s, I think it was.
I must have missed that because I don't remember that in the 90s.
Yeah. Well, if you see, I got into Archie.
I was out of high school though, and going about my life, working and stuff, and I didn't have a lot of time to pay it. I was like just out of high school, going out into the real world at that point. But yeah.
I was still in high school. I got a few grades behind because of different junk. But the other thing is, they weren't as big as DC or Marvel, obviously. Although DC was producing them, they got permission. But so if you're paying attention to DC, Marvel, and these guys were out probably around the same time as when Superman died and Batman got his back broken. So they either came out just before or just after it started. So it would have been easy to miss them because of all the big stuff going on then. But, with me into Archie Comics and finding out about them, they're superheroes. When they came out, I noticed them.
When do you think you would be ready to do any type of Indiegogo or anything like that? Do you have scripts already written out do you have a debut comic script already written?
I actually have the first Canadian Shield drawn up. It's actually drawn up and on my website for digital download for a copy. Now, unfortunately, I can draw people real well, or fairly well. I'm nowhere near as good to say Ethan or Mike, but I can draw. So I can't do my background stuff good. So. So I went and grabbed a whole bunch of different images offline for background stuff. So it's photos, and I tried to mess with them as much as possible. So hopefully I don't get in trouble for that. But so it's for sale right now, the first issue, online, digital download. But right now because I recently in the last year got a walk-on tablet, not tablet, tablet, drawing tablets. Plug it into your computer and you can draw on your computer. So I'm going back over a lot of the artwork, especially the background stuff, and even the shield. I'm trying to bulk them up like I wanted to. About a couple years ago, my library where I am, they have a digital printer. I mean a 3D printer, so you can print up stuff.
Yeah.
And I went and scanned one of my action figures that I wanted for the size, and I got it, reduced the size a little bit, printed them up, and then painted them. I got my Canadian Shield.
Very nice. Very nice.
I got a little felt cape on them, so.
A lot of people I think are still kind of underestimating the whole 3D printers are getting really cheap now.
Yeah. You can get them for about $200. They're not the greatest. But
you don't have. I know they take a while, but you don't have to have just one. If you had the money, you could get a bunch of them and start printing parts of action figures and then just putting them all together basically in your house. I guess. But
I'm not sure whether you've watched any YouTube videos on it. Some people have made really big sculptures of the different characters, and they just cut off the pieces. They, I think there's pieces that have taken like 25, 30 hours for them. So they just start printing and they leave. They let it do its thing. They come back.
All you do is you just model it. I mean, you can either scan it or you model it in a 3D program and you save it as an OBJ file, and then you just stick your little memory drive into the printer, right? And it prints it right out. That's pretty much how it works.
Yeah. And the other great thing is the library that I went to, they also have a 3D scanner.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
So, you know, I took a whole bunch of my characters and started 3D scanning my action figures, that is. You know, I'm on a learning curve with the 3D software. I'm only using I've got a laptop here. It's not the most powerful, so working with those programs can be difficult, to say the least, when you don't got the power behind it.
Yeah, no, I don't have the best setup either right now, and you know, I've told my story on here. I'm a single father, and I'm basically, I'm basically one footstep ahead of being in jail all the time because I have to pay. It is absolutely mandatory that I pay child support.
Yeah.
So that's like a big, and it's not, and also you've probably never been in that situation, but it's unacceptable to like even hardly talk about or bring those type of things up, that you could possibly be a single father under a lot of pressure. You're supposed to, like, people will tell you as a man to express yourself. Until you express yourself, then everyone will be like, oh, well, you're kind of whining, you know what I mean? Like, shut the hell. You understand what I'm saying? And it's thanks a lot.
You know, I'm not a father or anything, you know. It's one thing I really want to be, but I understand exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Oh no, trust me. And at the same time, like I'll just give you an example. I finally, even though I pay support and have paid support flawlessly for like 12 years now, the mother of my kid was because, all right, here's basically how this all even happened to me. I didn't get a woman. I wasn't just out trying to get laid or anything. I was out trying to find a woman to marry.
Yeah.
And I could not find one that wanted to get married. And then, you know, after dating around for so long, eventually, yes, I got a girl pregnant. And okay, so, you know, that's not necessarily the right thing to do, but whatever, that's in the past. And she didn't, and well, here's the thing is she basically physically assaulted me one night. So I was like, well, I got to get out of here. And I left not knowing that she was pregnant. So in other words, because of out of wedlock pregnancy, she got automatic full custody of the kid, and then didn't even tell me anything about my kids until after they were born. And so that's not taken into consideration or anything. So my point, so I had to say all of that to say this. So then I did find a girl that wanted to get married, and lo and behold, I get a phone call, and my kids have been abused, and the mother lost custody. So I'm just trying to let you know, like, basically why my financial situation and why I don't do an Indiegogo, or even I could probably go get a loan with my credit and just go print 5,000 issues of a comic book and pay it back with my job. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm trying to say is I'm strapped because I pay child support for 2 kids that have never met me. She never once brought my kids over to meet me, and because I never even really knew anything about my kids till I was married to another girl. I had to waive my rights. They came to me and they were like, well, she abused the kids, and can you take them? And they were like, you got to take them right now. And I was like, what do you mean, can I take them right now? I'm married, and my wife has 3 kids, because there's women with, there's single mothers with kids all over the country. So I married a woman with 3 kids that was a widow. And I was like, I was like, I'm financially strapped. I can't take care of 2 more kids now. So you see how all this could have been avoided if fathers just got automatic 50 shared custody of their children, whether in wedlock or not, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the big thing here for you, I'd say, is the fact that you didn't even know. You know, complete shock. It's like deer in the headlights sort of thing.
Yeah, and so now I just recently, about last week, finally found a woman who would help me for basically for free. And so that's a blessing, but I gotta tell you, at the same time, you know, I have to be careful of everything I say around her, because she almost seems more concerned with how am I going to be Jesus Christ to my kids, rather than, oh my God, your kids are with an abuser and they have been for 12 years and they've never met you. It's like she's constantly lecturing me. Well, when you get your kids, I hope you do this. And it's like, listen, why don't you go to the court and lecture them the way that they've allowed this all to even happen? What do you lecture? I haven't even got my kids yet, and I'm getting lectured, bro. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when you do, I'm trying to warn you, when you do have children, if you do, Rick, be ready to have, as a father, have no one give one single, and I'm going to keep this kid friendly, asterisk T, about anything that you say or feel. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just get ready for that, because it will come, and you will be like, man, I remember the action artist telling me to be prepared for this. And it will not come as a shock to you.
For sure.
But otherwise, I would have an Indiegogo, or something, you know, or I would be further along than I am right now in my life. But that's not to say that I'm very blessed that I had kids nowadays, because a lot of Americans aren't having kids.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I had kids, and you know, despite the situation, you know, the situations that I found myself in, where you know, for some reason, till I was 35, being a hardworking, this is a lot of Christian males are facing this, by the way. And since you're a Christian content creator and I'm a Christian, we can talk about this. I see a lot of Christian men that should be married in these churches and are not. And I feel like they're constantly told to improve themselves, and almost like it's like you're to blame if you're a single male and no woman wants you. It's like, what, American males just aren't, the average American male just isn't good enough anymore or something? Like, what is wrong? What's up with all these single males in our churches that are Christian men, that the Christian women aren't marrying them?
I don't know. Most of the girls that I like don't end up liking me back. That's all I know.
I know. And you know, and that's another thing I was talking, and I'm going to get back on comics, but my comic does deal with a lot of the stuff that we're talking about right now. Actually, it deals with a father. You know, I'll tell you a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about my comic too, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
My comic is more Alfred Hitchcock style horror, but more contemporary, because a lot more things are possible with the technology we have now.
Yeah.
So it gets borderline sci-fi, esoteric. Like, I got a guy that uses fallen angel technology. Yeah. That's like he can't fly, but he has this kind of anti-gravity thing going on, and you know what I mean?
Angel tech, as I call it.
yeah, he could just jump as far as he wants, basically, I guess, so to speak, and he can like kind of hover in midair a little bit, but he doesn't like fly around like Superman, you know.
Yeah.
And he has super strength, and he, you know, but my main character is a regular guy who he's sort of the working class hero. He's just a working class hero, and he starts rising through the ranks in his town, but he's ignorant to the fact that his town and many towns now are run by absolute Luciferians and Satanists and like demon possessed people and all this stuff. And also the underworld is full of demonically possessed people. So there's very few even really good. I mean, there's quite a few, but not all the people that you see are human in this comic book. A lot of them are demon possessed, or they're demons or fallen angels.
Yeah. Nighthawk, I think, asked, what's Extreme Force? I'm not sure whether that's to you or me.
Extreme Force. I think I was going to use Extreme Force for my superhero team, the Extreme Force, but I changed it to Rogue Force, because they live on the outskirts of like the mega cities where the Satanists, in the towns where like the gated towns, basically entire like gated towns, and like where there's martial law and all this stuff. Like Rogue Force stays outside on the outskirts, and they like battle monsters and demons and corrupt government agencies and all this kind of stuff that are trying to get full control of everything as they lose control of everything at the same time. Sort of.
Hey, Elmo. We got a new person in the chat. I figured I'd say hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Trying to keep an eye on the chat here too while we're talking. We don't want to completely ignore the people watching. Oh, there's a third person. Whoever you are, hello.
Yeah, hey. There's actually another person in here besides us now.
Yeah, we got Nighthawk Warrior, Elmo, and a third person.
Oh, there's even more.
Because it says it says 3 are watching, so. All
right, cool. I'm gonna go check it out real quick. Yeah, so that I'm just saying I guess the main point is my comic book Nut Job is not for children. It's not. It's for like maybe young teens, 14 or yeah, basically maybe like, you know, you might be able to let like a fairly mature, like, you know, 15 or 16-year-old read it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A kid that was too young wouldn't even understand it, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like it's hardcore porn, and there's violence in it, but it's not.
What good comic doesn't have a little bit of violence?
Yeah, it's not a slash.
You gotta punch the bad guys, right? The bad guys.
Well, in Nut Job's case, you got to kill the bad guys, because he gets a bit of a Judge Dredd mentality that like the people aren't fighting back because they're afraid. They're too afraid, and the police are kind of in on it all, and so nobody's doing the right thing, and so he just starts killing all the bad anybody he figures is a complete disgusting, filthy, corrupt criminal, like drug, you know, anywhere from like a major drug lord to a pedophile that he meets when he's hiding out in the streets. He decides to kill them, basically.
Hey, Lucy. Sounds like my one non-Christian character that I have as a superhero. He's called Libra.
Yeah.
He's a court bailiff by day, and he sees all these guys getting away with murder or whatever, getting off on these technicalities, and he go out and beats the people within an inch of their lives. You know, after he's done. And sort of combining Batman and Spider-Man with him.
Yeah, you were telling me about him now. Okay, I remember now. I'm just gonna get a little bit more coffee. My guy is a cross between Punisher and Iron Man.
Ah, the Iron Punisher. That's something I do too in my spare time too. I do a lot of combo characters. I do a lot of crossing DC and Marvel characters together.
Yeah.
So I combine Superman with Spider-Man to get Super Spider.
You have a guy named Super Spider?
Heard it? And I actually do have a guy named Super Spider too. Within my comics, there's a comic verse called Merge, which is basically DC and Marvel characters. It's what my characters read for comics.
I basically, all my characters are generally like, they generally represent something that I've come across in my research or that I've experienced. Like I would have to say that that I make out of all this crazy stuff going on in the news and all this crazy stuff that we encounter in our lives. I just kind of make a salad out of that, and I toss it around, and I come up with characters that kind of represent the antagonist of that problem or that thing of that issue. You know what I mean? He becomes the not the he becomes the hero that fights that issue. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain, but that's generally what I've been trying to do. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, well, like I said, I'm not sure when you started doing your universe, but I've been doing my universe for like 30 years. So.
Yeah, yours is a little more advanced than mine. I'll tell you that much. No, I don't. I only have like 7 characters. I have a giant. I have basically a giant because there's giants around. They're in hiding right now.
Yeah.
And this in the comic book, and there's always been giants like in the Bible too. And I have a guy that uses fallen angel technology, but he thinks it's alien technology. And Nutjob is very uncomfortable. My main character is called Nutjob,
Yeah.
and that doesn't mean just crazy. It means he's like he's an engineer, like mechanic type guy that builds all his own weapons and equipment. So hence the name Nutjob. And
he works with a lot of nuts.
yeah, he works with a lot of nuts and bolts. And but basically, the scientist is studying what he thinks is alien technology, but it's fallen angel technology, and he unlocks it, and it's like this super suit, like you were talking about, and he starts using it to fight evil, and he eventually teams up with Nutjob, but Nutjob is always like holds him in suspicion because he's using what he considers fallen angel technology, not alien technology. So the two characters gripe a lot until eventually the team will split up and Nutjob goes his own way. But yeah, that's way in the future. I haven't even gotten to the superhero.
Yeah, I've got I think it is 5 years into my comic book. But after about 1.5 years of my 7th character coming out, they're going to form a super team called the Holy Warriors. And then, like about 4 years after that, the team's going to sort of break up, or one member's actually going to get. I'm not sure whether the team's going to get broken up or just one member's going to get kicked out because he gets a little too big for his britches.
Yep. Hang on.
The character's done a lot in my universe because, well, it's my character called the Wiz. given he's got been he's given a Solomon situation where, you know, he's like 12, 13 years old or something like that. He's in school. He doesn't do very good. So, you know, and he's rich. So, too.
Fuck
Or his
yeah.
parents are rich.
The Canadian
And so-
cross sounds cool. I want to draw. You should let me pencil the Canadian cross, man.
Canadian Shield.
Or I mean the Canadian Shield. Hey, there could be the Canadian cross though. Maybe I'll do that. But anyway, yeah, you should
Yeah.
let me. Maybe you should let me pencil the Canadian Shield. I would do him right.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
oh, what was I going to say? But anyways, with the
Yeah,
Wiz, he's watching like a Saturday morning cartoon or whatever, you know, something on some Christian channel.
Yeah.
And because we have a Christian channel up here, and he's watching it some Saturday morning, and he's flipping through the channels, and there's some sort of Christian program on, and he gets saved through watching that. So and that's before he's like 12 or 13, and then, you know,
Yeah.
he's like, when he's 12 or 13 or whatever, you know, God, and he's not doing good in school, so he thinks he's not representing Christ good because he's not getting good grades. His fellow classmates tease him a lot because of it. You know, how good is your God? You get pathetic grades, you know? So God comes to him one night in a dream or whatever, like Solomon says, well, because you've been a faithful servant, blah, 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 I'm going to give you, you know, grant one thing. And he thinks, you know, well, I can get wisdom through reading the word and scripture and all that. So I want you to give me the knowledge of the 31st century if you were to tarry. Wait till come back till then.
The 31st century in the future. You're talking about in the future, basically.
Say God, Christ doesn't come back in the next few years, and we actually get 1,000 years from now. You know, just think where the technology and all that will be.
Yeah, right.
And our knowledge.
Oh, it'd be
so he's asking God for that knowledge.
Yeah, cool.
And God says,
God gives it to him, basically.
Yeah. And, you know, a few days, his grades start improving, obviously, because, you know, he starts knowing all this stuff. You know? So being a better witness to those around him. And then I'm not sure whether it's at night or another Saturday morning, he's watching TV and he sees about this bank robbery or whatever, and this bank getting, you know, decimated, you know, for all the money in it. And he becomes righteously angry, and he decides to make himself a costume and become a superhero. But he's also inspired by the other superheroes that have come before, because, you know, he would have seen the Canadian Shield already on TV or whatever.
Whatever, yeah, or on whatever your version of YouTube is. I have my character eventually gets a fan base on ViewTube. It's not YouTube, it's called ViewTube. VIEWTUBE. Yeah. My little play on words, but yeah.
So, like I said, it's a Solomon thing, and actually, he's the one that gets a little too big for his britches, because over the next few years, he's upgrading superheroes, you know, and all that, you know, giving them better costumes and all that for the ones that don't have, you know, just regular costumes. He's thinking of different things to help improve their abilities. He's helping other people become superheroes, you know.
Yeah.
And he just gets way too big for his britches. He thinks, you know, he's all that in a box of chocolates.
I'm glad this whole Comicsgate thing is happening, and I'm really hoping that I'm really hoping to try to be a part of it, because I was around when the Image thing happened, and I was so happy. Even then, I kind of understood that Marvel, indeed, because, you know, even back in the 80s, there were the stories floating around about how the guys that created characters like Wolverine got made you know, practically nothing, and then Marvel took those characters and turned around and made, you know, and then Stan Lee's like living in a palace basically. And you know, when that's not the type of thing you want to hear when you're a young artist, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, if I go work for this company and I come up with an idea because I'm too poor to get it out there, that I can just they'll buy it from me and make millions off of it basically. You know what I mean? It's
Well,
just not,
that's why with my company, almost the first thing I had decided, I was never going to bring my characters to any major company because would not want to lose creative control over them, because I figured if I took them to DC and Marvel, within a couple years, they would not be Christians and they wouldn't be recognizable as my characters.
yeah. What's to say that, and I've done shows about this, and you're supposed, and they say they don't like being approached by artists with original content because then they can be accused of stealing. That kind of tells me that that what, and I suspect this, and this is what I think is really going on. I think a lot of artists that think that, and nobody wants to talk about it, it's like a dirty secret. I think a lot, they have maybe not outright robbed a lot of people, but I think that they've been approached by artists with ideas and they were like, oh, that's a good idea. And they've probably come out with something similar, but not the same. You understand what I'm saying? So they can keep
just enough different so they can't be.
I suspect that's what's going on. I suspect.
But then again, DC and Marvel rob each other all the time nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. So I've done shows where, you know, if you got original content, don't even send it. Don't even take it to conventions anymore. You don't know. I mean, I've already been, because, and I only say this because I can't prove it, but the few ideas that I sent to comic book companies already, about 2-3 years later, I saw something similar come out, and that was I approached Chaos Comics with an idea about a group of characters that fought monsters, and then they came out with a title called Monster Fighters. Not a different title, but same. You know, they just basically kind of changed the premise and the whole thing a little bit, and they did it really well too. That's kind of what pissed me off. Better than I probably would have, but still. I'm saying, you know, you're risking having your ideas robbed by even approaching these big companies, and you just, you know, and then also just letting that energy out there. Like, I even sometimes get scared about discussing my ideas here on YouTube as I'm like trying to do videos to promote myself, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, like I'm going to do the Canadian Cross, not the Canadian Shield. Instead of publishing your comic, Rick, I'm going to come out with the Canadian Cross. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah.
But
hey, you can take the name if you want. That's no problem. I tell you, come up. Well, except for the fact that I'm talking history, I tell you'd come up with a character very similar.
And there are a lot of similar characters. I mean, even my character, he's quite original, but he is kind of a cross between Frank Castle and Tony Stark. But he's not a loser alcoholic like Tony Stark, and he's not like like Frank Castle will kill a pothead. You know what I mean? Like, Frank Castle will beat up a pothead basically. Whereas my character wouldn't just beat up some lowly. You really have to be bad for my character to want to kill you. Basically, you have to be a very bad person, huh?
He might beat up the thug, you know, to get the information to get to the bigger guy.
Do you think I would be ripping off that movie Fragile too much if I kind of brought in the concept where he got his missions from an angel?
I haven't seen that, so
you should really watch the movie Fragile then if you haven't.
Yeah, it sounds interesting, getting missions from an angel.
Oh, it's about a guy. Oh man, I don't want to ruin the whole movie for you, but it's about a guy who figures himself a demon slayer and wants to raise his kids to be demon slayers, and so he forces them to watch him kill people out in the barn. And that's all I'm gonna tell you. You gotta go. You gotta watch the rest of the movie. But
I try and download that.
yeah, and it's not an outright horror movie. There's a real message behind it, and it's actually a good Christian message by the end of the movie. It has a twist at the ending that you're not even going to see it coming. So, or you might, but you're going to still like it.
Yeah. Oh, I still like a lot of movies and I see the ending coming or TV shows.
But yeah, I thought maybe I might bring this angel in, maybe Gabriel or something, and
you might not want to make it Gabriel. Make up some angel, you know.
Like, should I come up with my own angel?
Yeah, you know, like take me for example, with the Canadian Shield. You know, like till the first year and a half that till he gets back. He was originally in Hamilton before he got transported through time and space.
Yeah.
So he's traveling back to Hamilton, although he doesn't know that. But there's going to be an angel there along the way to help him. You know, like an angel first appears to him to tell him to put on the suit and go south. He doesn't know where he's going south. He's just going south.
Right.
And then, you know, the angel, not everything happens because of the angel, you know. He runs into a guy, he'll fight him, you know, but sometimes when, you know, there's a villain nearby, this villain's nearby or he's a town over. Shield, something you need to deal with.
Right. I think it's a good idea. I think it's an excellent idea. I might present it a little differently in the way I do it, but of course that would be that's not called artistic license.
Yeah. And all I simply call the angel is Messenger.
Oh, you named him Messenger. Cool. That's a cool name. Right on, man.
Okay. And as you know, no, you didn't catch mine today. I've got several angels and demons in my universe, but they're not going to be the forefront of my universe. You know, I might end up having an angel demon book, you know, 2 or 3 years down the road. You know, I've developed an elite angel task force team. I call them Forever.
I'm sorry, the name of the team is Forever?
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. Yeah. Coming up with names is very challenging, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm checking the chat. I'm just looking in the chat real quick just to
we got 2 at the moment. Probably still Nighthawk, and I'm not sure who else. Hello, whoever's there beside Nighthawk, or if anybody else is there. And thanks for that funny thing, Kra, about me. Yeah, Ghost Rider and Iron Man might make a good combination. Probably Marvel has done it somewhere along the line, I would think. Actually, they probably did, because I remember an event a couple years ago where they made a whole bunch of Ghost Rider type characters. So I forget what it was called. I never read it, but I heard about it.
I'm just reading some of the comments in here anyway. Cave Creature stopped in too. What's up? Yes, he says Stuart is the man. Thanks, Cave Creature. I think Cave Creature originally ran across me doing MGTOW videos, which is where I talk more about the father's issues that men face. Yeah. And he's followed me over to my comic channel, and then he's helped me actually get subs for my comic channel too, by the way. So I just want to say,
we got 4 watching now. Hello, everybody that's new.
Hey, Lucy. Nighthawk Warrior, of course. Elmo. Where have I seen Elmo around?
On Sesame Street.
I know. Maybe it was Sesame Street. Let me see. I'm going to go to Elmo's channel. Elmo has has 58 subscribers but no videos. Interesting, Elmo. How do you get 58 subscribers with no videos?
Maybe he had videos and took them all down.
Must have. That's kind of what I was gonna assume, but I don't know. And there is violence. There is violence in all comics, but here's the thing is one of the things that I wanted to distinguish between in my comic book is the difference between violence and force. And force is used in self-defense, but force could also be used in, say, in an emergency situation. This is kind of what is an issue that I'm dealing with in my comic book Nut Job. What he does is he swears what he does is he starts to operate by the Declaration of Independence, where he considers himself not a part of everything because it's too corrupt, and therefore it's his job to break away. And if you go read the Declaration of Independence, this is what it says: when a long chain of abuses has been committed long enough, and basically there's no justice. It's the people's responsibility, not it's their choice. It's their responsibility to overthrow that tyranny and to even go around that system and create their own. I forget what the word. I could go look it up right now. But basically, to create their own breakaway society. That's in the Declaration of Independence, or to preserve. To preserve what's left of their society, basically. And so he starts operating under the Declaration of Independence in the comic book, and it gets into that to where he doesn't have the time, doesn't have the money, doesn't have the resources, doesn't have the time to explain himself, so he just becomes like Judge Dredd, basically. That's like the whole premise of the story right there in a nutshell. He's like a modern day founding father, like Andrew Jackson or something.
Good.
That's pretty deep, don't you think?
Yeah. Hey, people watching, hit that like button.
Yeah, don't
forget you're liking it.
Like button. And we're creating a whole. I like Ethan Van Sciver. I like Mike Miller. I like what they're doing anyway. I don't know them personally. I like what they're doing. I like what they say they're doing. But I'm here to kind of force the door open for Jesus and for the God of gods to get his foot in the door of comicdom, and that seems to be what Cross Comics is trying to do. Huh?
I said we are low-end Christian comic book creators.
Yeah, like you said, not just rehashed Bible stories. Not just rehashed Bible stories either. Hey Rick.
Yeah.
I unfortunately feel like I want to make a big pot of coffee and stuff, and that means I'm going to be getting up and walking around. So maybe
go ahead. I can entertain these people somehow. Maybe answer questions.
Yeah, if you want to just kind of talk, and maybe I'll present some of some artwork or something in a little bit, and you can too.
Yeah.
But yeah. Let me go make some coffee then. Thank you.
Okay. But he's gonna go make some coffee. Hello, Hoth Rebel 86. I guess so. From what he was saying, he just went to make some coffee. So you just got me here. Can you guys see me? Or is it just on his screen? We did? Or do you mean action? Okay, good, Hot Rebel. So did you meet me or action?
Yeah, go subscribe to Cross Comics too, people. Any of my subscribers, give Cross Comics a helping hand. Not just because he's making cool comics concepts, but because he's a good guy trying to do the right thing. Back him up, man.
Well, for those who don't know who I am Rick Piper. I have a comic company called Cross Comics. It is Christian-based, faith-based, however you want to word it. I also have a YouTube channel. I am on Twitter. I am on Facebook, and I am on Instagram. I don't post a lot on Instagram or whatever. I have stuff in I have a group on Facebook and a page which has some of my characters up and all that. As I said, I have a YouTube channel right now. I am trying to do a live stream every day, Monday through Saturday at noon. Sundays, I will be doing one, but the time's up in the air because I go to church, not home for noon. So probably 4 or 5, maybe 3, I'll do it at. However, this coming week, I'm still going to try and do it Monday through Thursday. I'm helping out at VBS at my church. So I'll be there all day, but I'm going to try and do a live stream at noon. In my live stream, I read a verse or a passage of scripture, comment on it, and I try to do at least 2 of my characters. Although probably during the next next week it'll only be 1 because that's probably all I'll have time for. And thanks, Hot Rebel, for subscribing. On Friday, however, I will not be at noon. It'll probably be 2 or 3 in the afternoon because my mom has a cataract surgery at 7:30 in the morning, and I have to make sure she gets there and gets home. And so if you want to tune in for my live streams, I try and set it up the day before or whatever and put it on private, but I can put it on public so you can get a reminder. Yeah, I saw that there's a thing that came up. Hot Rebel. Again, thanks. Like I said, I'm an amateur artist, I would say. I'm fairly good. I'm nowhere near as good as, say, Mike S. Miller, if you've seen his stuff, or Ethan Van Sciver, who are big names.
I'm not as good as Mike and Ethan. I'm just messing.
Yeah, I do. Yes, I like Star Wars. I'm not an avid fan like Ethan. I consider myself a sci-fier. I like pretty much all sci-fi. I'm not gung-ho on any. Probably the best that I like Star Trek probably the most, but it's also got the most content out there. I have lots of different things. I'm not sure whether you can see it up there. I have, like, from the 80s Super Friends cartoon, there's a penguin flyer thing. So, and really small. It's near the wall. Not sure what else I have. Oh, I got lots of toys. I got them in boxes. What else was I saying? I've been working on my comic universe for about 30 years. I started when I was about 15, give or take a year either way. And because I saw the need for Christian superheroes. Any questions you have, I'll be glad to try and answer. So just write them in the chat. through my at my public library, they have a 3D printer, and I printed up and colored my own version of my Canadian shield. I'm not sure whether you can see it there. Gotta get this off. Oh yeah, yeah, there. So I hope to do that. What do we got here? Don't mind me. Yeah. Yeah, bring up my PNG. Okay, we've lost a viewer. Sorry to see you go, whoever you are. Not that you can hear me saying that. Nighthawk, if you're there, you got anything to say, or Hot Rebel, or whoever the third person is? This.
All right, coffee is on. Dog is fed.
Yes, I am Canadian, Hot Rebel. Or Hoth Rebel, sorry. No problem about Canadian. I have oh.
I wanted you to check this out. This is just a rough draft of one of my pages.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, hey, this is a full, you can see how big this is compared to me. This is a full, this is
yeah,
a full,
that's an 11 by 17 sheet, what they're supposed to be on comic pages.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to show you, see, he was a good guy, doing everything right, working his way up through the ranks, but didn't realize he was in a broken system. So secretive that even his wife is in on it, and he doesn't know. And when he starts uncovering the real truth about what's going on behind the doors in this town, it's almost like that movie Hot Fuzz, but more serious. It's not a fucking comedy. Excuse my language. It's not a effing comedy. This guy loses everything. They falsely accuse him. They take his children away. Then they put one of his children in an abusive foster home on purpose, and she dies, his daughter. So he eventually finds her, and she has the son, and he kills her and takes the son and runs off into the woods with his son, basically. And to save his son from these evil people that are basically the government in this town. And then they resurrect his wife as a sort of, the angel type character in the Mark Silvestri Darkness series. She's like the head of all these angels or something like that.
Not me, but I'll take your word for it.
I'm trying to think what her name is, if anybody in the chat knows. But she's basically this like cyber. The Satanists take his dead girlfriend's body, or his dead ex-wife's body, and they resurrect her into this like satanic Baphomet. I have a picture of it. This like should be around here. If I can find it. Right here. They just resurrect her body as this kind of like satanic Baphomet like goddess thing with like jet wings and missiles, and and she's an archer and has like a spear too and all this shit. She can fly around at like supersonic speeds and stuff, and they send her after him. So he has to kill her again, basically. He has to kill her twice. Is that pretty sick? I don't know. But that's part of the storyline.
Well, you might not want to kill her off because you always want the villain to be able to come back, right?
Well, he doesn't. The second time he doesn't kill her. He captures her. Well, they beat her. Him and some friends beat her, and then they reprogram her and make her a good guy.
Yeah. There's
I
that
don't
too.
know.
Maybe even the first time you don't necessarily kill her, but it's comes real close and she ends up in the hospital.
Comes real close to killing her, so they save her by turning her into that thing, and she agrees to it because she sold her soul, basically. And that's when you start reading my comic book, and you see all the bad guys going, "Yes, I'm gonna burn in hell. Yes, I'm gonna burn in hell," like they know they're gonna burn in hell and they love it. You're gonna realize how my comic book is gonna show real evil, man. Just real evil.
Well, I've got my kingpins, if you will, in my comic verse. I'm not gonna. Some of them, who will know who they are. One, you're kept. Hopefully, if I do it right, you're kept in the dark to who the person is.
Yeah.
Or whenever I show this character, I'm planning just to have the character in the shade, so sort of blocked out.
Yeah.
So you can't make out any features.
Yeah.
Oh,
keep them cloaked in shadow most of the time.
Yeah, she runs a lot of things behind the scenes, and then I've got like two or three, no, at least two kingpin type characters for my country. One's in Montreal, one's in Toronto. I gotta keep one up for Vancouver. Those are like the three major cities in Canada.
Yeah,
although Ottawa is our capital.
I'm having trouble deciding whether or not to use my actual hometown. I think I got to make up I got to either make up a town, or I don't know. People have used Massachusetts towns before for backdrops for stories, so I suppose I could get away. Maybe I'll use Ware, Mass, or something like that. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what Nutjob's hometown is, but it's in the Rust Belt in northeastern Massachusetts, northeastern United States somewhere. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I should. Yeah, I got my major 7 heroes. They're spread out throughout Canada.
Yeah.
So, although there's 2 here in Ontario, well, at first they're not close, but eventually they end up becoming real close together. One's going to be in Hamilton, one in Toronto, so they're only like 50 miles apart.
They're in the actual cities. Does it take place in like near future or now, or?
My comic book is supposed to be in the here and the now.
The here and the now, so you can basically, if you wanted to, use actual photos for reference. Then basically,
yeah,
that's a good idea to do that. You can alter photos, and like you could take, like that's one of the things I'm going to do. Basically, is there's a lot of cool spots where there's buildings I can get up in where I can see my whole town, basically, almost all the buildings, everything. I'm going to take some panoramic views for backgrounds.
You've went up a subscriber. You got 68 now.
Cool. I'm hoping you got some subs.
Well, I got one on Hoth Rebel joined.
All right.
So I'm up to like 20 now.
Yeah. No, cool, man. Yeah, no, thanks, you guys. Hit the thumbs up. Help generate more comic creators. Help comic book creators generate more material. That's what I'm here to do. That's exactly. I've loved comics my whole life. I'm an edgy guy. Rick at Cross is a little more. I think he's a little more. I'm a very edgy guy, and I I speak what's on my mind a lot, and I have a history of activism. So.
I'm a little bit more laid back, but
a little more lighthearted about things. I might be a little curmudgeonly and jaded by now, is all. But I still like to have fun, and I have a sense of humor, as you can tell. So
yeah, Although if you get me really ticked off, I'm not a nice guy.
Right, I'm not all doom and gloom, but every now and then I'll turn on my channel and you will see some doom and gloom. I might even delete the video later, but so if you really want it, you better download it or something. If you want the real dirt on me, you better download my videos for later. Because
if you want to see one video that I'm not super angry, but you can tell I'm a little ticked off. I've done 2 videos on this. I'm not sure whether you watch Supergirl at all.
No, but I've seen and heard plenty of it. Like I've seen it advertised everywhere and seen previews and people showing parts from it. But yeah, no, I haven't watched.
Well, a couple months ago when they were started, well, they started a long time ago, but most of it was easily fluffed off. The SJW stuff, but they really started heavy, like I don't know, maybe a month before it ended. And, I made like a 2-minute video on that, and then I've heard what they're going to do with this new season. And I've got like it starts out about that, but it ends up with a whole bunch of stuff, 10-minute video because of that on my site. About the SJW stuff. And,
pontificating about the SJWs ruining everything for us.
Yeah, and, but it's not even everything. It's just like, well, I guess it's everything. I'm not sure. Like I said, I start out with I said, frankly, for the next season of Supergirl, unless they shape up.
Did you watch The Punisher on Netflix, dude?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because I watched all of that. And I even think they did a good job. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if there's something superhero, I watch it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Usually, sorry.
I don't hear a lot about The Punisher on Netflix and what a good job they did. That scene where he fought the whole prison block?
Yeah.
Remember that scene where he fought the entire prison block and he was like stabbing them? He was like taking their shanks and sticking it in the sides of their heads, and by the end of the fight, he's laying on the cell block floor, just covered in blood. That's the type of stuff I want to show in Nut Job, But
yeah. And we're except for the past few months, I've had some minor money problems, but I think that's over for now. But where I live, the theater close by, if there's a major movie coming out, like superhero movie, you know how they're usually supposed to come out on the Friday?
Yeah.
They have a show. They have like 1 to 2 showings on the Thursday night, and I go to those showings.
You're at the early show before it even comes out, basically, right, officially. I used to do that too. I mean, I saw the original Batman with Michael Keaton, what's his name as the Joker there, Jack Nicholson. I saw it.
Technically, that's not even the original Batman. Well,
yeah, I mean, I'm just saying.
I'm not going to see the one with Adam West. In like the 30s, early 40s, there was a movie serial.
Yeah, they made a movie.
They had 2 movie serials for Batman.
Based on the TV series, basically. Yeah. No, you're right.
No. I'm not talking about that. Like in the 30s, they didn't even have the TV series.
Oh, you're talking about before Adam West? They did Batman movies.
Yeah, it's like they're like 15 minutes, 5 to 10 minute, 15 things. They're black and white, and they were in movies.
I think I've seen clips of those before. Yeah, like little.
And there's like 12 episodes.
Yeah, little in-betweener things at movies and stuff like that. Yeah.
No, well, see, this wouldn't have been in-betweener because back in like the 30s, their movies were like 15 minutes long and like almost a television episode, and you'd have to come back the next week to watch the next episode.
So it was like a serial.
And they did that for like, 13 episodes or whatever. They're called serials, movie serials.
Yeah, right. Serials I've heard of. Okay, I didn't know that. I don't think I knew they had them that early. Yeah. But
they got 2 of Batman. They got like 1 of Superman. They've even got 1 of Superman.
I was just basically saying though that that movie I caught in a theater like you. It was like a pre-opening midnight because my friend worked at the theater basically, and I was in high school when that came out with Michael Keaton, and he was like, dude, he's like, dude, you want to go check out Batman tonight? And I was like, yeah. So I got to sit there and watch it for free. It was pretty cool, but yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Those were the good old days, man. And I mean, you know, I still am a big fan of a lot of movies from the 80s where they did such a good job even back then with the special effects that they had. But yeah.
Yeah. But I must admit, the movies nowadays are better.
Yeah, they are. They've gotten a lot more believable and realistic looking for sure. I grew up on Captain America, and there was actually a Captain America. I think they might have did a pilot, but it got. I don't think it made it a full season. If it did, it wasn't very many episodes.
Yeah, but, no, they did a movie. They did a Captain America movie way back when.
Was it made for TV? Was it one of those made for TV movies though, like NBC?
I think so. It faced off against the Red Skull in it. I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, he had a motorcycle and he had a motorcycle and a Star Spangled and stuff like that. Yeah.
Heck, they even did a Spider-Man one, believe it or not, like that.
Now the Spider-Man one, a lot more people remember. Yeah, no, that was really good for its time. I was super happy when that came out.
Although I've seen an episode or two of that, and they totally butcher his origins, if I remember right.
He did make his own web and all of that, if I remember, but I don't know. I can't remember well enough. Didn't he get bit? He got bit. He did get bit by a radioactive spider in it, didn't he? I think, if I remember correctly.
I don't think so. I forget. It's been a while, but I'm pretty sure they butchered his origin in it because I remember watching it and saying, "Oh my God, this is horrible." It's just like I'm not sure. They did a made-for-TV Justice League movie. They were going to plan to do a TV series for it.
Yeah.
And the thing is just horrible. If you ever seen 7 Days, TV series 7 Days, the guy that was the commander of the base in that, they had him as Martian Manhunter. You had like a fat Martian Manhunter.
Okay. I don't believe I recall that. And what was that in?
It was supposed to be a TV pilot for Justice League of America.
I don't think I recall. I don't think I remember any of that. Wow, no way. That's crazy.
It never got aired. It's just I found it somewhere.
I'm saying I don't even think I remember them even attempting to make Justice League. No kidding.
Yeah, let's see. Fire was in it. Ice, the Atom, Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, and the Flash.
I grew up. I grew up on Justice League, the cartoon, and like the Wonder Woman and all of that. That was.
Same here. That's what I grew up watching. I'm just saying, this was done like late 80s, early 90s, maybe a little bit later. Like I said, and I just happened to find it. I downloaded it, watched it, and I'm like,
I remember Flash.
God, this is horrible.
Did you ever see the Flash Gordon movie?
I think I've seen them. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a movie. I never even had read Flash Gordon comic books. I just knew when I saw the trailer for the movie, I was like, "Oh, that's really cool. I want to go see that." But yeah, there's another Mornies, and they had. I think they made He-Man. They made a He-Man movie, but they did.
They did. That was horrible.
Yeah, but didn't they remake He-Man? And I thought it was supposed to be released, and it never got released. Didn't they? Like,
no. I've heard that they're remaking it. They're going to be doing it in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
A new He-Man movie, live-action movie.
Yeah, I thought I saw trailers for it with Man-at-Arms in it and everything. If I recall, I don't know. I was waiting for that to come out, and then it just never came. As far as I know,
I don't think it's been made yet.
not they're not finished with it.
The thing you got, I'm not sure whether you saw the trailer here on YouTube, but you got to be careful with a lot of these trailers on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they're fan made, people make the costumes and dress up, or they do, fan series stuff and do the same thing. It could have been a fan series that you seen the trailer for.
It was a fan series. They did a damn good job on it, boy.
There are a lot of good fan stuff. There's this one. He only did the trailer, but he's written a script for it. There's this one about the death of Batman. It's showing Nightwing, and it's like you'd say an alt-world tale. Nightwing is, or not Nightwing, Robin is married to Barbara Gordon in it, and it's like 15 years after his death or something like that. The trailer is just so awesome. It's never been made into anything, but he just made the trailer. Yeah. You would have, if you see this trailer, I might try and find it and send you a link or whatever at some point.
Right.
But you would think it was, and this was done like 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. You would have thought it was movie quality. It's set in the Adam West Batman universe, if you will, but it brings in all the other superheroes. Because you see a Green Lantern in it, you see Superman.
Yeah. I'm reading here, Hoth Rebel 86 says it's so cool that YouTube allows comic fans to follow the creative process of artists like yourselves. I never would have dreamed this could happen when I was a kid. Technology is amazing. I agree, Hoth Rebel, and that's why I have issues. I have issues with people in entertainment now, and but I still have to support some of them. I guess it's hard to explain, but that's why I like watching Ethan and Mike and those guys.
Yeah,
is because I can at least learn from them and just keep perfecting my skills. Huh?
I said also it's another way to promote yourself too.
Yeah, I know. You can promote yourself in their live streams and stuff, and I've done that a little bit. I feel kind of guilty trying to push myself in somebody else's stream, but it has happened before. Sometimes people just like what you say, and all of a sudden you got a new subscriber. If you say
a
few of your comments and you pick up a subscriber, they follow you. But I got treated. I'm just gonna say it, and I know people don't want to get involved, but I'm not the type. I'm not a drama queen. I don't go around just dredging up drama. But I finally reached the level where I'm confident in my art that the only thing that I'm really missing is that separates me from some of the pros. I'm not saying I'm as good as all of the pros. I'm saying I'm as good as some of the pros. And once I got that confidence level, I was like, all right, I should be able to get a little bit of respect now. And I did from some of the people. I started going. I went to a few conventions, but let me tell you something. Neil Adams, man, left a really bad taste in my mouth. And was very disrespectful to me, like almost like get the fuck out of my face. And then another Asian guy, I can't remember his name, but he's a huge heavy hitter for Marvel. It's an Asian guy. I can't remember.
Jim Lee, maybe?
Worked on, I think,
Jim Lee, maybe?
Not Jim Lee. I mean, he's still at Marvel. Jim Lee's like editor for DC now.
Oh yeah, you said not to see.
I forget his name, but man. Right in front of everybody, I was like, he was taking questions. I asked him a question, and then I was like, and also after this, can you check my portfolio out? And he just right in front of everybody just went, nope. And then almost as soon as he said that, he said, oh, by the way, if you're over 35 years old or so by now, you're probably, and you haven't gotten into the you haven't broken into the business, then you're probably never going to, and you're just going to have to go your own route as an independent artist, which is a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, don't be sad that And I'm like, why are you guys? I'm thinking, why are you guys child predators? I wasn't a 18-year-old prodigy, so now I'm 35. I'm washed up or 40 something. You know what I mean? But I didn't lose my cool. I just was like, I was like, so will you look at my stuff? And he was just like, nope. And I just went, okay. And I just said, okay. And I was quiet. I didn't pressure him. I didn't be a dick to him. But that, I'll tell you, Neil Adams almost didn't even look at my stuff. He went, yeah, well, okay, yeah, whatever. Yeah. And just was like, please get this fucking garbage out of my face and either buy something from my table or get the hell away from me, basically. And so, I've realized that this whole, so what I've realized, or so what I say to them, and I'll say it right to their faces at conventions if they ever say it. If they ever tell a young kid in front of me while I'm in line to get a signature, just keep trying hard and have a good attitude. I'll say, don't listen to him. That's not true. You might have to know somebody. You know, that's not necessarily true because I've seen a lot of talented people go by the wayside that for some reason can't get into the business. And then I would be like, here, please sign my comic, please. Oh no, okay, fine, thank you, asshole. See you later. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. That's what I would do at a convention now, basically.
Like Mike said on one of his streams, or what stream? I think his stream. At least to be a writer, he said you got to get into Marvel as like a janitor, work your way up to somehow be an editor, and then hire yourself as a writer.
And then just I talked about this in another live stream. I was kind of trolling Todd McFarlane because I'm a good artist now. I'm not the best, but I'm good. And I was just trolling him a little, and I wasn't being mean, but this kid posted a Spawn picture that his father drew, and it was phenomenal. Like it was fan art, but it was phenomenal. And the kid was like, my dad drew this, and this is like a little tiny kid. He's like 8 years old. I'm 8 years old. My father drew this or something. I've always been a big Spawn fan. You gotta let my dad do a cover for Spawn someday. And Todd McFarlane just went, thank you. He didn't say yes, or he just went, thank you. Didn't even acknowledge the kid. So I felt, I didn't write this, but I felt like writing underneath. I felt like replying to the kid, no, your father's not endorsed and hasn't sold his soul to whoever. So no, your father's not going to do a Spawn cover. You know what I mean? Like, and you're not gonna get an answer about it from Todd McFarlane either, or a reason why, kid. But I didn't write that. I'm just saying, I can't prove it, but I suspect there is something fishy going on in the industry. But at the very least, YouTube is allowing us to watch these guys now go through the creative process, these pros, and we can learn from them so that we can show up at these conventions and compete, whether these artists like it or not, if we have a comic book with us, right? Cross?
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it,
Yeah. Well, myself, I don't know what, in the back of my mind a few times I've thought about trying to get into, DC or Marvel, but my thing has always been I've wanted to do my own comic book.
That's respectable.
Because, that because of my creating my own universe from, like around 15 or around there, it's always been, I got to get my universe.
Yeah, you don't want some chicken neck telling you what to do, how to express yourself, basically, probably, which is what would happen. Some chicken neck that's never had a bad day in his life would be like, I don't know if this is appropriate or something. I don't know, but anyway.
But hearing all the war stories with Mike and Ethan and all that, I'm sort of glad that I never, got into, it because, being, I'm not sure whether I consider myself conservative, but I am a Christian, Right now, here in Canada, I'm going to be I've been wanting to vote conservative because our prime minister is a joke.
He's Trudeau, or no, what's his name?
Trudeau.
Yeah, Justin Trudeau, who's probably a tranny female to male or something. Who even knows? But I know what you're talking about. I mean, I'm just saying that as a joke. I don't know that for sure, but he sure is. He's basically he's basically a feminist. You know, he might as well be a tranny. But no, I hear you, man. It's our leaders are jokes now. A lot of them. Really.
There was one. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying Trump is saying a lot of things, but it's like, you know, like, for instance, the girl that's representing me in court to help me get my own children, you know, she hates Trump. She hates him, and we've already had heated discussions about that. And then I said something bad about Obama, and she's like, "You don't say any." I'm telling you, dude, this world is crazy. It's like she's like, "You don't say anything bad about Obama," and I'm like, "Well, then you don't say anything bad about Trump." And then stop yelling at me or whatever. You know what I mean? You can't win with these people. It's like, I mean, it's incredible.
I used to be dead set.
Sorry. I'm just saying, Western civilization is in such a jam. You know.
Yeah.
Well, the only one who's going to get us out of it is God. I'll tell you that.
True, very true. I used to be dead set against conservatives for a while because we had in Ontario, your governor, they're called premiers here in our provinces. You know, we had one, like, I don't know, 20 years ago or something like that. He was a real jerk. And it was nowhere near as bad as Trudeau, but he was an idiot in different ways. And as far as I'm concerned, he messed our province up. We're still suffering for it. But then again, we had our recent premier has messed us up a lot too. Not so humble opinion.
I've read a little bit about Canada, where even I think the Queen of England one time has even overridden the. I thought she literally one time overrode the Parliament of Canada, or I don't know, crazy like that, something crazy like that.
She technically has that ability, or the Governor General, the Governor General has that authority from her to do this, but it hardly ever happens nowadays.
Yeah.
The chances of it happening, you know, if it actually happened, I think I'd faint from shock. You know what I mean?
Comicsgate is it's a blessing, but I'm here to tell you right now, I suspect it's already infiltrated. You know, I suspect that there's gonna be like any movement is automatically infiltrated, and I'm guaranteeing you that there's already SJWs that are planning to they're gonna say they're Comicsgate. And then after you follow them and buy their comics, you're going to realize they're leading you down the same exact. They're going to put out the same trash they always did, and you're going to already have bought 5 of their issues before you realize, these are the thing. Disguised as Comicsgate people. I guarantee you that's going to happen. By the way, and you're going to give them, and they're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars on their project. I'm telling you, I see it coming. I see it coming.
I'm sure there'll be a couple that, you know, try and ride the coattails or whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, we as Comicsgate people, you know, we'll buy the books, and I think we're going to be on guard enough to be able to tell about stuff like that. I would hope so.
I hope so.
And as soon as, you know, there's already people saying stuff about different people in or out.
I've already got some flags going off, but I don't want to act like I want to take all the fun out of comics, because comics don't have to imitate real life. It's just now I'm so feminized out with all the female heroes making men look like idiots, that as soon as I see it, like, flags go off. And I'm going to be specific because I don't care. Gary Shipman's comic book, Atkins Land, I kind of already see this empowered female character fighting full-grown gorillas with a spear, and I'm like, okay. But then again, I don't. Then again, I don't want to act like I'm the authority on Comicsgate, and we can't show even one empowered female. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm just wondering where to go.
There's nothing wrong with the empowered female because look at Wonder Woman. She's been around for 80 years
Okay,
now.
okay. Well, she has an excuse though. She's from Krypton, but anyway.
No, she's from she's an Amazonian.
Oh well, I thought she Superman's sister or something like that. No,
No,
okay.
you're thinking of Supergirl,
Oh, Supergirl. Okay, that's right. That's
who
right.
is his cousin.
Okay, okay. No, you got me there. You're right. You're right.
But
Well,
she's human based. She was an Amazonian. She's been gifted by the gods. With all.
right, but that's still an excuse though. But anyway.
Yeah, well, there's always an excuse for them to be super powered. It's just
Right.
But, how do I put?
I'm just saying I don't want to pick on Gary Shipman either because I really am. I really like Packens Land. I think it's a cool.
Yeah, I know nothing about those comics, so I can't say anything about that universe. So,
I remember
I'm not sure what you know about it.
I remember them being on the shelves when we were back in the day. You might have been a little bit younger than me, but it was one of the more alternative type comics that it wasn't quite superhero, so I didn't pick it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I might have seen it, but I don't remember. Again, I was just picking up basically either superheroes or Archie, and it was just DC,
Right.
Marvel, or some small offshoot like Impact. I got practically every single Impact comic.
I was a Calvin and Hobbes fan too. I have to. Yeah, I read. I bought some of the. Or I either was gifted from somebody or bought some of the Calvin and Hobbes comics too. But yeah, I mainly read superhero comics. Something really attracted me to superhero comics, and I feel like it made me a better person, dude. I feel reading superhero comics really made me a better person. I think maybe even too good of a person for some people. They can't handle it.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. I'm not trying to act like I'm the big moral authority or anything, but
Well, the only big moral authority is God, and that's who we refer to.
yeah, Hoth, what a jerk. He's talking about Neil Adams. You're right, Hoth. He was a great.
He put that about
He said, "Wow, what
10 minutes ago, 12 minutes ago."
I know. Sorry, I'm just checking the chat. But I kind of got to skip out because my dog's got to take a walk, and my coffee's done, and I'm gonna take a break. But we should do this, more, especially if we're getting likes and we're getting views and we're getting subscribers.
Yeah.
I think you and I'm not afraid of competition. You know what I mean? I would rather make allies now with some of you other creators that are more on my level in Comicsgate. So I'm just saying, if you want every week, unless otherwise notified, we can plan on doing a Saturday afternoon podcast for a while.
Yeah, unless something's coming up for one of us,
Yeah. Maybe we can draw side by side at some point too, or something. You know what I mean? Maybe, if you don't mind, maybe I'll just to promote your universe. I'll sketch out one of your characters, and maybe you can sketch out one of mine or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sounds like fun, right?
You can. There's my videos which has stuff, but if you go on, like I said, on Facebook, there's my page, Cross Comics, which in the photo section has a bunch. Or if you go,
what's your website? Do you want to tell viewers about your website, by the way?
Sure. My website is www.crosscomics.ca. Fairly simple.
Very simple. .canada.ca. All right.
I tried to go for .com, but it was already taken.
Well, hey, you got .ca. Did you make that website yourself, or did you pay somebody, or have somebody help?
I made it myself, pretty much. I have a friend that I worked for a bit in web stuff, so I know a little bit of how to do all the web programming. So he's hosting it for me for free. I just got to pay the domain fee every year.
Yeah.
And I do pretty much all my own web stuff.
Cool. Maybe you can
need a little bit of help, to do stuff.
Maybe you can brush me up on some of that then later on. All right, cool. It was really fun talking to you, bro.
Yeah, it was great talking to you.
Yeah, I'll be tuning in because I'm at work, and I'll be tuning in while I'm at work as usual, and then I'll probably talk to you next Saturday.
Yeah, so Saturday, say about 4:30, because I still don't think we got started till like almost close to 5 today.
Yeah, somewhere around 4:30. I'll try to.
And for now, since you've got the most subscribers, since it's probably, I would suggest doing it off your stream.
Yeah, sure.
Just because gets me more.
Yeah, no, whatever we can do to help each other. Absolutely.
Yeah. But if I end up somehow getting more subscribers than you, then we switch over to mine, and
fantastic.
Who's ever got the more subscribers? Right. That way,
No, cool, man. God bless, Rick, man.
Okay, God bless. Good talking with you.
Yeah, talk to you.
See you in my chats.
See ya.